2 notebooks now.
Oh my god. You know what? I'm almost at 2 notebooks. I've only got enough for maybe 4 more movies.
One, it's for different parts. When I'm sitting and watching TV, this is my notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm over there working and a thought comes to me, I have this like old sketch pad that someone left in the Lost and Found of Silver Platters.
Oh, nice.
That I've just been scribbling. Not even like I can't write in a straight line. It's all crooked. You'll notice my note here. Are you King Cobra? From a more lucid moment I had. The question was that I was going to ask when I wrote that note was, are you excited about the movie King Cobra?
Answer is yes,
Yeah,
actually.
of course, yeah.
But, no,
Those old pornos were hot. Why wouldn't you be?
I used to really think James Franco was a hottie. Something happened.
You got to know him? Like, he wants to be gay so bad. Like,
Yeah.
Between this movie and that...
Interior leather bar.
Yeah. Like...
Just come on over.
Yeah, it seems like he's a little gun-shy, though.
Yeah.
Just, I'm sure there are plenty of guys that would love to break him in, but he just won't make that final step.
Or maybe he's trying it and he's just like, God, this just isn't working for me.
Yeah, maybe.
It's too bad. I mean, he'd be a welcome addition to our family.
Yeah, we'd love to have him aboard.
Yeah.
So,
James.
Franco.
If you're listening, you're welcome to come on the podcast, but I was actually talking about welcome you over to the pink team.
Yeah.
As it were.
I mean, you can do both. Make your big announcement.
Yeah, you could come out on the podcast.
If you want to make it arty, you could date both of us for a short period of time, and you could officially become one of the exes.
Yeah. And then you'll be...
But you have to date both of us.
Yeah, and then you can be on the podcast and, like, it'll all be legit.
Yeah. There would be no legal issues.
Just think on it. Just think on it, James.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. How's life?
Pretty good. I was thinking about Star Wars. I was late to the game on Rogue One. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Much later than everyone else, but it was good. It was all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I was thinking about how expanded a universe, like the Star Wars universe is.
Sure.
And I was like, because there's a lot of fan fiction that has sort of like been rolled into the canon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that, I don't know. To me, like, that seems crazy that like a fan would write something and it becomes so popular that it gets rolled into the universe.
Yeah.
I guess like Harley Quinn in Batman the Animated Series, like that's a invention of the cartoon, like the animated series.
Oh, okay.
And people just liked her, so they put her in
Just
the comic books.
adopted it? Wow.
Yeah, and
look at that.
Yeah, and that always just strikes me as crazy. I'm like, wow, how, like,
they're just gonna take ideas wherever they can get them. I don't blame writers. They're like, that's actually a good idea.
I mean, I can see like the draw, because it's kind of fun to like think of an expanded universe for like some of your like, your other favorites.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, this must be why there's so many like superfluous sequels out there. Like, why there are sequels to movies that never, ever, ever needed a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, there's a sequel to Chinatown. Like, why would you make a sequel?
There is?
Yeah, it's directed by Jack Nicholson.
Why?
Yeah, it's like part of that movie is that, it was a mystery, and like it came to a conclusion, but it's not like everything was wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be though. It's its own like pulpy novel movie.
Right, and so I feel like doing a sequel or making a sequel to that movie is sort of a disservice to the original one.
Yeah, is it still the same detective?
I would imagine so. I haven't actually seen it. It's called like The Two Jakes or The Two Jacks or something.
Sounds terrible.
But at the same time, if, some movie executive asked you to write some shitty sequel to like a movie that you loved, you'd probably say yes.
Yeah.
If head of Warner Brothers was like, Ryan, we want you to make Mildred Pierce 2, Vita's Revenge. We'll give you $40,000.
Ooh. Make it 60.
I'd write Mildred Pierce 2. I'd do it for free.
You should, and see if it gets picked up.
Vita's Revenge. Just imagine it. Sigourney Weaver is Vita, all grown up. She's done her time, and now she's got like a Kellyanne Conway sort of position for like a corrupt president.
I was picturing her be like a piano teacher.
Okay, I feel like that's small scale. Vita thought big.
Okay, sure.
She wanted those big bucks. And then her daughter is like set out to like stop her from like corrupting the nation. And the only one who can stop her, the only one who's defeated her before, Mildred Pierce.
This is where we can get those old ladies we were talking about a few episodes ago.
So Mildred Pierce, I'm thinking of Ben Kenobi, Miss Havisham sort of situation.
Okay.
Locked away in some retirement community, living off the pension from her restaurants.
Sure, and this is from, Angela Lansbury.
You know who I had in mind?
Who's that?
A little-known actress by the name of Jessica Walter.
Yes! Ooh, okay. I'm on board all of a sudden.
Yeah, the sequel's not so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know who played the daughter. It'd probably make me do Kirsten Stewart or something like that.
Yeah,
but...
we can do an epic. Oh, you know who would be great is that Shailene Woodley.
Your favorite.
I love her. Throw anything. She can be in anything mediocre, and she elevates it. So
Jessica Walter, Sigourney Weaver, and what was her name?
Shailene Woodley. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Well, another mispronunciation of the canon. But yeah, no, I'd totally write that movie.
Who would you like to direct it? Do you have any favorites?
Well, naturally myself.
Okay.
But if that wasn't part of the bargain, I guess I'd settle for Steven Spielberg.
Second choice.
Listen, Steve. I get creative control. Final cut.
This is my movie, Steve.
5 points on the back end. And 20% of the merchandise. The Mildred Pierce merchandise. All those t-shirts.
Oh, there's like...
The bobbleheads.
Would there be like a tie-in with food? You could have like a chicken and waffles situation.
Yeah. No, we'd get KFC in. Or Mildred Pierce.
The Mildred Pierce special. 2 drumsticks, 2 breasts, mashed potatoes, 3 biscuits, a side of spite. All for $11.99. I can see Jessica Walter selling that.
Yeah. I mean... Boy. I don't know why Hollywood hasn't recruited us yet.
It's a matter of time.
We're just flowing with good ideas.
Time is the only variable in this situation. It's an eventuality, I say.
This is just really an extended resume for this whole podcast.
Or audition tape, however you want to look at it.
We're just brimming with good ideas. Yeah, we'll take any crappy idea, turn it into gold.
Speaking of crappy ideas that got turned into gold, we were talking last week about what the Oscars was Oscar a real person, and I looked it up.
Yeah.
And no, or maybe is the answer. Apparently he was some...
Hey, those were the options from Edward Nygma, the little dude in his home.
That's right.
No and question mark.
Yeah.
The little carnival dummy in his apartment.
Maybe Joel Schumacher's a little more prescient than we gave him credit for.
That was a little nod to the Academy.
It was some like librarian who worked at the Academy, and they came out with a statuette, and she said, "Hey, that looks like my Uncle Oscar."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she could have been lying.
Yeah.
And not had an uncle named Oscar. Or maybe she really did, and it did look like him. Who knows? But fun fact. In quotations.
Her uncle was dipped in liquid gold Game of Thrones style.
What if she said it with horror, but that's not part of the story? She's like, that looks like Michael Oscar! Just it got that part of the story kind of got
typical
lost.
Hollywood. Always whitewashing the truth.
Let's gloss over that little detail. Well, welcome
to the Valentine's Day edition of X-Rated.
Mm-hmm. It's getting all romantic around here. My name is Ryan.
Edge of chaos.
My name is Ryan Whedon.
I'm Matt Fisher.
And hopefully the world is still here by the time we post this.
These things are sort of like little letters to ourselves in the future.
Yeah.
We should end each one of these by saying, like, Dear Matt, Dear Ryan, you've seen things that we haven't seen. You've experienced more than we've experienced. Hang in there, future Matt and Ryan.
Stay strong.
Stay strong.
Godspeed.
Choice did you choose for us this week?
Well, I decided that we should watch a movie that... Well, maybe I should explain how I found this movie, or what made me think about this movie.
Okay.
I knew that this episode was going to be Valentine's Day themed, and so I wanted to do something romantic, but I didn't want to do something too obvious. So I literally Googled romantic movies, because all the ones that I like are pretty obvious. And this was on the list, and and because I'm such an egomaniac, I just assumed that, like, oh, I barely know this movie. Maybe nobody else has ever heard of it. Turns out it's on AFI's list of the most important American movies.
Breaking our creed.
Number 93. I know. It also was nominated for 10 Oscars and won 5 of them. So apparently, a lot of people know about this movie, but I really like it, and
what movie is it?
Oh, I'm just building suspense. It's The Apartment by
Mr. Billy Wilder,
who has many great movies under his belt.
Yeah,
prior to this movie, even.
I think I've only seen one of his movies that I wasn't crazy about, and I don't know. I've probably seen 10 of his movies.
Yeah.
I don't consider Hitchcock to be like a classic Hollywood director.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that he didn't make movies in that industry, but I think of like the classic like big studio directors, Billy Wilder is probably the best of them.
Yeah, I think he's,
or at least he's my favorite of that era of like classic Hollywood big studio filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Wilder is my guy,
and he's not one for flashy. I've realized his interest comes from his plots and like character development. I've kind of found looking back over it.
When I was watching this, I kind of realized, because it had been a while since I'd seen a movie that was this old, and it kind of made me realize how unflashy the direction was. Like, I mean, not just with him, but like that was sort of the style at the time. Was that the direction was sort of like makeup, like you don't really notice that it's there.
Right.
I mean, of course it's there in the framing, the blocking, the editing, his hand is there. Indeed, and all that stuff, but it's invisible really. Like you don't notice it, it just kind of flows really naturally, and you're just attentive.
Exactly.
You don't notice like big flashy anything,
yeah,
set pieces or designs or anything. It just kind of flows really naturally. It doesn't draw attention to itself.
It's almost like he's thinking of it less as a visual medium and more as a storytelling medium.
Yeah.
And doing it in a way... one of the pros I found while watching this time was that it's really... the pacing of the movie is really great. Like, it's really measured.
Yeah.
And he keeps you... Every scene feels necessary and, like, proper length, well-timed. Like, it just... I don't know. It felt like a really... It's a quick 2 hours. It's a 2 hour movie, but it doesn't really feel like 2 hours while watching it.
I think directors back then were sort of more tacticians about the movie. Like, they weren't trying to, like, make this, like... You know, I think they put, like, movie first, style second. You know... I think that changed in probably like the 70s when you started seeing more auteurs
Right, yeah.
come about. And I think really like, Billy Wilder is one of those directors that, everything was for the sake of the movie. It wasn't for like the sake of style or to be cool or flashy.
Right.
It was, to make just, like the best storytelling device.
Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty good story. It's a unique story, I think.
That was another thing I was thinking about, because I was thinking about other screwball comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Screwball comedies had this heyday from, the mid-30s really until like the early to mid-60s.
Sure.
This is probably like the breaking the wave moment for screwball comedies. Because it still kind of has that element of, he's nervous and jittery and she's cool and collected, and they're, I don't want to say from different worlds, but they're two different types of energies.
Yeah.
And, the screwball comedies were all about straight-laced dudes and daffy dames and,
right.
Putting opposites together and seeing what happens. And, I mean, they kind of did that here. I mean, Jack Lemmon's very nervous and jittery, especially in, like, the earlier scenes.
Right,
like the first third. And Shirley MacLaine is so calm. And I liked her vibe in it seemed very modern to me.
Yeah, she feels the most natural of all the people acting wise. I think. Like you can kind of Jack Lemmon's pretty good, but you can kind of tell he's line reading a little bit and kind of hamming it up. And also Fred McMurray is kind of doing the same thing where it's like, this is what you're always like. You're just reading lines kind of. But that's just the style, and that was the style of acting at the time. But she brings a more natural edge to it, which I really like.
Yeah, she just kind of reminded me of women that I know in real life.
Yeah.
Just that, like, calm, sort of, like, having to put up with bullshit from, like, men ogling her all the time. Or making inappropriate passes and comments. And, she's just, like, learned to deal with it.
Yeah.
And half of it's by, like, tuning it out. I don't know, it just struck me as, like, her style and her energy was very modern. It came across as, like, timeless to me, at least.
Yeah. Which is funny because I can't help but imagine now, if they had remade this movie now, they'd make her like super quirky and she'd have like a feather in her hair or something like something.
She'd be played by Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah.
And it'd be called The Apodment.
And she'd play what? She needs a weird instrument. The ukulele or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just like they don't make her quirky and weird. Like she's just kind of a cool city girl. With terrible taste in men. Just terrible.
Yeah, seriously. Like maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe Fred McMurray D back in the day was like top shelf action, but I don't know. I felt like she could do better.
Yeah.
I mean, outside that he was just like a scuzzball. Yeah.
I mean, that bar they go to is really cool, though.
Oh yeah,
the Rickshaw. Man,
it's a good name.
I would hang out there a lot, like a basement bar with all those booths, and I don't know, it looked like a lot of fun.
Isn't that the Cha Cha?
I guess, but in the 50s. I like it, and I guess while we're speaking about characters, Jack Lemmon's character is kind of. There's not much to him. He's not that special of a person. You know what I mean?
They make him out to be like super average, super straight laced.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said how much he was making at the very beginning, and I inflation calculated it. He was making 95 something a week,
right?
Which in today's money means that he would be making $40,000 a year. Plus some change.
That's not very much.
Yeah, so like very like
low level.
Yeah.
His apartment was only $85 a month.
Yeah. It was big.
Yeah.
But I did notice that they, in like the opening when he's like introducing himself, he's like, yeah, I got this apartment, perfect for the bachelor lifestyle, but he's not leading that bachelor lifestyle.
Right.
Like, all his supervisors are.
Right. He's just sort of like I guess he's supposed to be just like kind of an everyman. And there's shots that kind of prove that, like, that big, I think it's kind of a famous shot of The Office when we first see it with, like, the forced perspective.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, a worker drone.
Yes.
And then there's also another one later when he, like, gets locked out of his apartment all night long and he has to sit on that bench. and it's like a huge bench.
Yeah.
It's like, looks like it goes on for miles, and he's the only one on it. I think it's supposed to, like, make him seem like he's just, like, like a one-man, everyman kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they do make him seem, that he's very average, middle-of-the-road sort of, except that he has so many stalker tendencies.
I can't live without you. And I won't let you live without me.
Oh my god, yeah, I wrote that too.
Just all over the place, unrelenting.
It was troublesome because the last scene, which is really a good ending, I think.
Well, you hate typical romantic Hollywood endings.
Very much.
Where the guy and the girl embrace.
Kiss me, you fool! Didn't happen.
Yeah.
They don't even kiss in this movie, I realized. Like,
at all?
no,
At
not
any
once.
point?
Not
Oh,
once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Romantic.
I think we can say the ending because the ending's not really a spoiler. They're
Right.
just sitting playing cards.
Right.
It's sort of...
She leaves Fred McMurray on New Year's Eve and then goes to Jack Lemmon's apartment and plays cards with him.
Yeah, it's sort of inferred that they're, like, gonna get together, but they don't have, like, a big heterosexual embrace.
Yeah.
Like, they, have a very platonic evening, by the looks of things.
Right after he says, I love you. I'm crazy about you. Ugh.
Yeah, he's intense.
I know your every thought, Laura. Nothing could keep me away.
And of course, the looking up her social security number and height, weight, appendix scar. That's a little creepy, dude.
Yeah.
And she just blows it off.
Yeah, she was definitely like, don't tell the fellas around the office how you know this.
That's what she's worried about. Different times, man.
Yeah.
If it were today, she'd be like, ha ha ha, and then starts texting help me to her friends. Like, I don't know. That was a little weird. But he's still, I mean, for the most part, he's charming, minus those stalker tendencies.
So while this is a romantic movie, it's shockingly adult.
Yeah.
So my reference for, like, scandalous things in this period was that Psycho, which was 59 or 60.
I think it was the same year, yeah.
He had to fight to show a toilet in, like, the scene where they flushed stuff down the toilet. Like, that was a big to-do to return the toilet. So, like, the idea that Shirley MacLaine takes a bunch of sleeping pills at one point and, like, actively tries to kill herself.
Yeah.
Seems really shocking, especially for a movie that achieved, like, mainstream appeal.
That's right. It was a huge success.
Yeah, 5 Academy Awards.
I didn't want to know the gross report on this movie. It's so embarrassing.
It seems funny to me that, a toilet was like, Hitchcock had to fight the censors to get a toilet in Psycho.
Yeah.
But
they just
Shirley
greenlighted
MacLaine trying to off herself, and it's not like a small little portion of the movie. There's a huge chunk of, like, end of Act 2 or the beginning of Act 3, whatever it is, that's devoted to this. And, like, the neighbor comes over, the doctor neighbor, and is, like, trying to get her, resuscitated and, like, awake, and he, like, slaps her.
Yeah, I think he's really slapping
Yeah,
her, too.
it looks
I wrote that.
like, it might just be, like, a great sound effect and great acting.
But her eyes are closed, and he's, like...
Yeah, I mean, she
Bring it
looks like
back.
she's getting slapped in the face, and it looks like she's being comatose about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just this big chunk of the movie that is so dark and dour and bleak, and, previously had been like a screwball comedy kind of sorts.
Yeah.
And it just took this wild turn. I don't want to say turned, it was an organic flow of the movie. Like, it was a logical extension of their actions. So I don't want to make it sound like it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, watching this movie in the lens of, like, a 1961 viewer, that had to be shocking.
Agreed, yeah. I mean, when I first saw this movie, it was a couple of years ago, and I didn't know that scene was in there, and I was shocked. Because you just don't think that that's what you're getting into when you sit down and watch one of these old Hollywood black and white movies,
And we were talking about this last week, but it's like, unlike the cover art for the DVD, it's, Shirley MacLaine, like, shoulders shrugging and smiling, and you know, what are you gonna do about it? Like typical like rom-com sort of pose, and it's got Fred McMurray and Jack Lemmon in the background. They're both like smiling and laughing, and yeah, it's just when you actually watch the movie, it's like, oh yeah, no, she tries to kill herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess the premise before that is even kind of dark because it's like Jack Lemmon is letting these people, his superiors, use his apartment to have affairs.
Yeah.
Just so that he himself can get promoted, you know,
and
get looked favorably upon, and it's like, ew, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be like very bottom of the barrel way to like get ahead.
Yeah.
To succeed in business without actually like being very good at your job.
Do you think the other worker drones were suspicious?
If they knew the score?
Yeah.
I mean, some of them had to, because it comes out, you know, Fred McMurray had the affair with his secretary.
Right.
Because she tells Shirley MacLaine what's up. So there has to be, like, bubblings around the office that all the bosses sleep with all the secretaries, or try to, or elevator girls, as it were. And so they had to sort of know what was up. Whether that leaked to the men in the office, you know.
I'm just thinking of like when he packs up his desk to go into like the actual office that he gets. There's that old guy that's next to him that's just like,
oh yeah,
congratulations. It's like, shouldn't the older guy be promoted? I don't know.
Yeah, because earlier he says something like, "I've been here twice as long as you," or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's like resentment brewing about that.
Those old timers, they can't learn anything new.
That the new typewriter that he's gonna have to use.
What is this QWERTY system?
I use ASFABAB and I will continue to use it. I don't know if that's a typing system.
I was like, wow. What was that word then?
I don't know.
Good job.
Thanks.
I like it.
I'm going to invent a new typing keyboard, ASFABAB.
2 A's in the top line.
You use A lot. It's a lot of words that have A in it.
Apartment has A's. 2 of them.
There you go, see?
So you can just jam all your fingers down at once and spell apartment. It's the apartment keyboard.
Exactly. That's why it was invented, was to be able to type the word apartment at a quicker pace than QWERTY could ever do. Hollywood?
Copyright extra movies.
God, we're just knocking them out of the park today. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
There's this, I think it's the first scene when they have their little meet cute on the elevator, and then as they're walking off, that older guy like smacks her butt.
Oh yeah.
They're talking about her, and he says, "I'd like to be on the slow elevator to China with her."
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And I don't know what he means.
I think he just means that he wants to spend a lot of time secluded with her, alone.
On a slow elevator that has to go all the way to China.
Well, that would give you a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He could wear down her defenses, or her, and then he'd be out in China, a free man.
Okay. Well, now I know
it'd be a long time before she could get back to America and press charges.
That's right. Yeah, because the elevator has to go all the way back.
Yeah, and she's gonna be in that elevator because no one will operate it otherwise.
Yeah. That did seem like kind of a superfluous job now that I think about it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
It couldn't have been long for this world, that position.
I mean, maybe there was a point in time where elevators were a little bit more complicated. Like, at some point, I think they had, like, levers.
Yeah, but she's pushing buttons.
Yeah, I mean, really, I have one in my apartment. And, this place isn't populated with rocket scientists. I'd love to see the training, like, day one on the job.
It's an intensive camp where they have to send them away. 2 weeks training, can you imagine?
For every different scenario.
Yeah. Gosh. Also, did you notice, I don't know, this is probably me projecting, but the there's the scene where her brother-in-law is looking for her after she's tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And he goes to the place and meets with the elevator leader lady, the elevator manager woman.
Sure.
Did she seem a bit sapphic to you?
Maybe, if you can define what sapphic
means. Lesbianic.
I mean, yes, but to be fair, every woman who has aged out of her sexuality seems lesbianic to me.
Okay.
So...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Just a stray observation I had there. She just had such a deep voice and a stern manner.
Shut up, Rose.
Also,
hey, that's what it took to get through the Depression.
Yeah, the elevator training course then took 3 weeks.
See, we're all fey and dandy because we've led the charmed life. If we had to sell the farm and move to California, we'd be just as stern and gravel-voiced as that old lady.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're probably right.
Well, I probably would have smoked more back then, too.
Well, you had to. I feel like...
I had to? Like, it was the
didn't,
law?
Yeah, didn't everybody start smoking at, 7 then?
Because they didn't want you to get too tall.
Well, you have to support those tobacco farmers.
America! Fuck yeah!
Hey, they're American crops. Buy American.
Yeah.
Here you go, kid. Smoke up. Here's a cup of Joe for you, too.
You're going to start eventually. May as well do it today.
We can't have you be taller than 4'11" to fix these gears in the train engine.
I want your fingers to stay stubby so you can get into that small gear in the back there. It's always falling off.
I like how we just imagine Snowpiercer at any time in history.
Wow, I can't really... that's a real jump from The Apartment to Snowpiercer. It's hard to mash those together. Another quote that I really liked from this movie is when on Christmas Eve, after Jack Lemmon goes home with that one woman, he gets her into his place and he says, "You are now alone with a notorious sex pot."
Yeah.
Do you think that was inflammatory at the time?
Sex pot?
Yeah.
Inflammatory to who? Like
actual sex pots?
I was gonna say, do you think there were sex pots out there being like, "Why I never"? Or do you think like the phrase "sex pot" was like making women clutch their pearls?
Well, I was thinking the second one, but I prefer thinking the first one now. Just people walking out.
It was inflammatory because there's no way Jack Lemmon could ever be a sex pot.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I mean, maybe. Is it just the word "sex" that raised your antennae?
No, I mean, it's okay for characters, like peripheral characters to be having sex, but then to have it be the main character mention that they have sex seems like, and saying that word seemed like something that just got past the censors at that time.
Maybe because it was ironic, because he did not have sex in that apartment.
Oh, maybe.
But it was just his reputation for it. Maybe that's why. Like, because if he actually was a sex pot, I don't think they would have let it fly. Maybe as well.
Yeah. I mean, if it turned into a full-on nude sex scene, that would have been real.
Those Nudorama movies from 1961.
I mean, right after
it was stiff competition at the Academy Awards that year.
I mean, that would have been right after the attempted suicide scene. It's like, what movie are we in anymore?
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you know what color Shirley MacLaine's hair is?
Yeah. I do.
I guess women aren't always the villain. Redheaded women. There's a lot of redheaded women out there that can still be, heroic or...
That's true.
Heroinic.
I really wanted to know the hair color of all the men that were his superiors. Because I feel like that would have been prime territory to have a redhead in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Fred McMurray's brunette.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Jack Lemmon's black or brunette.
I looked up Ray Walston, and it's funny because he apparently... I couldn't find any pictures of him that were in color when he was young enough to have hair that was colored, and every site that listed celebrity stats listed his hair as gray. So not very helpful.
I like how we were both digging for. We both knew that this subject was going to be broached.
Mm-hmm. It's probably one of the slutty women who were going to the apartment probably had red hair.
Like Joan in Mad Men. She's got the red hair.
Exactly. Yeah. Red probably didn't show very well in black and white. Probably just came off as brunette.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the way that it looks for Shirley MacLaine. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to identify her as a redhead if I didn't already know.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they dyed it, or if it just, looks naturally brunette because of the black and white.
I don't know. Lucille Ball, you kind of get an idea, but they kind of dyed it almost orange back in those days.
To make it pop as redhead.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that's about all I got. I mean, I love that scene that Jack Lemmon improv'd, making the spaghetti is really fun.
He improv'd that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. That was one of two scenes that Billy Wilder let him improv. The other one was when he squirts his nasal spray.
Oh, that was so good. That was so perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Oh, good on Jack.
Yeah, that was a moment. And also, apparently, there was a moment when he gets punched that he didn't move fast enough and actually gets punched and falls over. And that's the take that Billy Wilder wanted to use because it would look the most real. Because it was.
It was, yeah.
So.
Huh. No, I did not look up any fun facts.
There weren't a lot. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Other than the forced perspective situation of The Office, and he actually used converging lines and shorter people as you got further back. Eventually, getting to children in the very, very back.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why it looks like it goes on forever and ever and ever.
Oh wow, fascinating.
Yeah, Billy Wilder's a very interesting person. If you've ever looked at his history and Wikipedia page.
I haven't, no.
I think he escaped Nazi Germany. He was Jewish.
Yeah.
In 31 or 32.
Sounds right.
Something get out of there. So good for him, because otherwise we wouldn't have all these wonderful movies.
Yeah, that was another thing, is a lot of those old Hollywood directors were European immigrants, mostly from Eastern Europe at the time. And then they took totally American names. I'm sure he was not born Billy Wilder.
Yeah.
But yeah, they came to America, and I don't know how you get how you go from Eastern European, fresh off the boat, to being one of Hollywood's biggest directors.
I don't know, land of opportunity. Then I guess. It's nice. I mean, I liked how his neighbor was Jewish, very strongly Jewish.
Yeah.
And I think this is the movie where I learned the word mensch,
Yeah.
It's I for one love other cultures coming in and teaching me about their culture.
Yeah.
I think that enriches the world.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's sort of I like the variety. I like, the one of every kind, celebrating the differences, and but yeah, I didn't think about that, because the doctor, because they're having was it a Hanukkah? No, there was just the menorah in the background, right? Yeah,
and you can I think his name too is very Jewish, and he kind of has mannerisms, but he's not a caricature, which I thought was nice. That was still a time when you could get very.
What's his face from Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Oh,
Mickey Rooney.
This is not the salad of my people.
Oh, it's so painful. So painful.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Asian stereotype stuff. I don't know when that stopped, or even if you could say that it stopped, but even into the 80s, 16 Candles and stuff like that. You had long duck dong.
I know.
It was rough.
Hopefully we're reaching an epoch where people are more aware of these things. But everything's up in the air.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got a little deep there.
put the middle scene of that movie up against the first scene, it would seem like they're two different movies.
For sure, yeah.
But it goes so organically into like those darker moments that it doesn't seem like too much of a shift.
Yeah.
And then it kind of comes out of it too. Like not totally, it doesn't end in like, total comic area, but it ends on a brighter note.
It ends on a good note, yeah.
That's what I mean, like, he really knew how to direct a movie.
Yeah. Good job, Billy.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
I really doubt it.
I do too. But I was just, if he was, I'd invite him on.
Yeah, I think of the people who worked on The Apartment, only Shirley MacLaine is still alive.
Yeah, that would make sense. How old is Shirley MacLaine?
Let's see, that Apartment was from 1961, or at least that's when it was released, so... And let's say she was 20 at that time. So she's got to be closing in on 80.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm going to look it up. I'm really curious now. Wow, born 1934. So, yeah. 83. 82, 83.
Wow.
Good job, Shirley.
Yeah. Apparently she's sort of like her brother, where she has lots and lots of sex every day.
What? Who's your brother?
Warren Beatty.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
I also didn't know that he has lots and lots of sex every day.
Oh, yeah, he has there's like the stupid rumor that, of course, he, doesn't shy away from, that he had sex like 3 times a day, like each time with a different woman, for like 20 years.
Uh-huh. That seems mathematically difficult.
I don't even get introduced to 3 different people a day.
You really have to work at that.
But he put it all behind him when he met Annette.
Wow. Are they still married?
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
So,
do you think Warren Beatty makes Annette Bening dress up as 3 different women throughout the day?
I bet she'd be down for it. I could see her playing that.
Man, does she have to come up with a new group
persona
of 3 every time? I mean, she is an actress, so it's possible. Or do you think she has like some that she returns to?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, do you think like once a week she goes to like a costume store and is like, I need 21 different personas?
I mean, I'm just picturing like displaying costume. She's like the Scream guy.
Yeah, I was thinking she'd be doing stupid stuff like, today you're a gypsy, Roma, and then tomorrow you're Catwoman. But I like yours. Or today, yeah, she's the Scream.
Iron Man, but it's like the crummy one where it's like a kid's, just the mask, and then it's a t-shirt that has Iron Man on it. I mean, whatever works, if they're happy.
One day she's like a sexy nurse, like in the Candy Striper outfit, and then like later that day she doesn't want to try, so she's like sexy nurse, but it's just like OR scrubs. And she's just like, sexy, yeah, I'm sexy.
She just puts on a lab coat, and it's like, sexy doctor. Getting promoted.
Halloween's just a bore for her.
What are you doing for Halloween, Annette? Nothing. Leave me alone. Oh, sorry. Well, what would you like to watch next week?
Well, I feel like this is probably the first one. Well, I don't know. Tampopo was probably a blind spot for you. Like, you didn't see that one coming. But I don't know. It feels like it's been a while since there's been one that I think that you probably haven't seen and maybe haven't heard of.
Ooh,
hopefully.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the movie Clean Shaven?
I haven't.
Okay. We're doing Clean Shaven then.
Excellent.
It stars the rapist police officer from Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
And he's the only name of note that I can think of in that movie. It's been years and years since I've seen it, so it may suck.
That happens.
But if I remember correctly, it really does a good job of visual storytelling. It creates an aura of mystery based on what's actually in frame.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm up for a visual movie after this last one.
I also remember it's short. I think it's like 88 minutes.
Okay. Well, should we plug our junk and get
junk?
out of here?
Yeah. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at X-Rated Movies.
It's a great thing to follow.
If you want to like our page on Facebook, it's at Rated X Movies.
We will respond to anything you post.
If you want to email us, we are at x.rated.movies@gmail.com.
We will respond to anything you write with maybe a cute cat pic. Tempting. It's tempting.
And we're on iTunes currently, so rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah, that's how we get popular.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to. I mean, obviously you're listening to this podcast if you're hearing this part, but like tell your friends to do it too, and they don't have to listen. They can just give us 5 stars, man.
Yeah, that's all we really want.
And
a bunch of listeners.
Yeah.
And advertising.
Yeah, I mean, if you like it, don't lie. That'd be weird.
I'm looking forward to our first 2-star review. They didn't hate it totally. They just had some beef with it.
Anyway, next week we'll see you then.
Next week, clean shaven. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye.